Let's get into the parathyroid hormone. So if you're talking about the parathyroid hormone, we have to remember that these parathyroid hormone is released from the parathyroid gland. It's released from the parathyroid gland, and that parathyroid gland are actually four in number. There are four in number located posterior to your thyroid gland, and in the parathyroid gland there are cells. We call these cells as chief cells. So these chief cells release your parathyroid hormone. Get it? So parathyroid hormone, this is it, and finally chief cells release the parathyroid hormone, which is actually a polypeptide hormone, and it's the principal regulator of the calcium metabolism. So remember, whenever you hear the word calcium, you must keep the word parathyroid hormone in your mind. So this parathyroid hormone, you can see this is the posterior to the parathyroid gland, and you can see the four in number of the parathyroid gland, and this parathyroid gland releases a hormone called the parathyroid hormone, and this parathyroid hormone acts on different part of your body to help the regulation of the calcium ions. So remember, your parathyroid hormone actually acts directly on bones, and when it acts directly on bone, it increases bone resorption and mobilizes calcium and phosphate. What does that mean? It acts on the bone and takes out its calcium and releases it into the plasma, because when the plasma level of calcium is low, when the plasma level of calcium is decreased, what happens? The parathyroid hormone is released. So when the parathyroid hormone is released, it acts on the bones. So from the bones, it tells the bone to release the calcium from its reservoirs. First, it releases calcium from the small reservoirs, and from small reservoirs, the calcium is released into the plasma, and in that plasma, the plasma calcium level is actually maintained in this. And another way it acts on the different parts, like when the parathyroid hormone acts on the bone, it acts in two ways. It acts in the two ways on bones. The first way it acts, it actually like directly, at the first point activate your calcium pump and the osteocytic membrane that pumps your calcium and phosphate, or your phosphate PO4, from the bone fluid into the blood early, and it is actually a rapid action. The second effect it causes is the activation of, or you can say activate your osteoclasts for the formation of new osteoclasts, which is actually very slow and it is delayed, like it takes time for it to occur. The quick action is this, because we need calcium so early to maintain the calcium level. And if you talk about the kidney, what it does in kidney, it increases the absorption of the calcium from distal convoluted tubules. Remember this guy, distal tubules. So it increases the absorption of the calcium from distal tubules, parathyroid hormone action on the kidney, and also when you're talking about the kidney, it also increases the formation of 1,2,5-dihydroxycholesterol in kidneys. So parathyroid hormone does two things: reabsorption of the calcium from distal tubules and converting the 2,5 vitamin D3 into 1,2,5 vitamin D3, which is an active form. And in this way, it actually increase the level of the the calcium in the plasma. So this is what happens when the calcium goes down, the parathyroid hormone goes up and directly maintains it. And as soon as this is maintained, the calcium level goes down, and by the process of negative feedback, the parathyroid hormone is decreased, and again everything turns into the normal condition. This was about the parathyroid hormone. Now let's talk about the what we call the calcitonin. But calcitonin, remember this, the calcitonin, let me write it down. Let's talk about the calcitonin. All right, talk about the calcitonin. So remember the calcitonin. All right, so the calcitonin is actually the calcium lowering hormone. Remember this guy. Calcitonin is your calcium lowering hormone, which is released from your follicular or C cells. of thyroid gland. This is it, thyroid gland, not parathyroid gland, right? Remember, if somebody is asking you which hormone is which hormone is released in the regulating of the calcium ion, which is from the thyroid, which is from the thyroid gland, you'll be saying calcitonin. And which part of the calcitonin? From the parafollicular, or you can say C cells. So what does they do? They actually lower your circulating calcium and phosphate levels. So how does it? It actually exerts its effect by decreasing bone resorption, decreasing activity of osteoclast. So finally, it actually decreasing the osteolytic effect of osteolytic membrane. The second thing is this second and prolonged effect decrease formation of the new osteoclast, and that way it increases the excretion of the calcium from kidneys, because we want to get rid of kidneys, and this calcitonin hormone is only released when there is an excess in the case of the Paget's disease. And in the case of Paget's disease, we use the calcitonin, or body releases the calcitonin, and also in hypercalcemia, because there's more calcium and we want to get rid of it. We want to lower down. We want to bring the calcium lower. So calcitonin is kind of a guy that brings it down. And this is it. This is all about the what I call the calcitonin. Very quick, very fast review. So I guess I've explained the whole topic. Now we'll be talking about something else. We'll talking about the clinicals in another video. That's it for today. See you for the next time. Keep visiting Tiger Schooling.